The alien ship was huge, black, cold, and silent. It floated above the ruins of the human outpost. Its surface smooth like glass, but inside, something darker moved. The ship belonged to the Zoltar Dominion, an empire feared across the galaxy. They didn't take prisoners, but this time, they had. Her name was Evelyn Ray. She was dragged through the metallic corridors of the enemy flagship. Two tall guards, skin like stone, eyes glowing red, held her arms. Blood ran down the side of her face, but she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just looked ahead. The corridor echoed with the heavy footsteps of the guards. They moved past. Strange machines, glowing tubes, and blinking alien symbols. Inside one chamber, something screamed a voice that wasn't human. Evelyn turned slightly, listening, but said nothing. Finally, they reached the center of the ship. A wide chamber. Open before them, round, high ceiling, and cold lights hanging above. A throne made of black metal stood at the end, and on it sat the alien commander, High Warlord Vraxen. Vraxen was massive. 8 feet tall, 4 arms, and a body covered in dark armor. His face was hidden behind a helmet, but his voice rumbled. Like thunder. "Human," he said, "do you know where you are?" Evelyn raised her head. Her voice was quiet, calm. "Your ship." Vraxen tilted his head. "You were alone. No weapons, no armor, no soldiers. Were you trying to die?" She gave a small smile. "I was trying to be found." The guards looked at each other. Vraxen leaned forward. "Found? Why? What do you think you'll accomplish?" "Here." Evelyn stepped forward. The guards didn't stop her. She looked up at him, her voice still soft. "You wanted to break Earth, so you took me. You think this will scare us?" The chamber went silent. Vraxen laughed a deep, terrible sound. "Scare you? Human, we've destroyed worlds 10 times your size. You don't even understand real war." Evelyn said nothing. She just waited. Vraxen stood and raised one hand. "Then allow me to show you what real power looks like." A section of the floor opened. From below, a circular platform rose. It was a projection table 1 that could recreate entire battles in perfect 3D. "Bring up battle sequence 117A. Vraxen ordered. The fall of Corvex. The lights dimmed. The air shimmered. And then Evelyn saw it. A galaxy burned before her. Planets exploded. Moons shattered. Thousands of alien warships filled the sky, firing, crashing, dying. Massive titans of steel walked across cities the size of continents. Lasers, missiles, plasma, all mixed in a storm of chaos and destruction. She watched a fleet of 3,000 destroyers, fighting a swarm of machines that looked like living shadows. She saw a world get pulled into its sun. She saw an ancient alien king fall from the sky screaming, and then it ended. The last shot showed a dead star system. Every planet was ash. Every ship gone. Every life lost. Silence returned to the chamber. Vraxen looked down at her. "That," he said, "was the deadliest war in galactic history. 2 million years of civilization ended in 7 days. Do you see now, human? Do you understand why resistance is foolish?" Evelyn looked at the final image again. Then she turned toward him. Her expression didn't change. Calm, still, almost bored. Then she said 3 simple words. "That was cute." Vraxen blinked. "What did you say?" Evelyn stepped closer to the projection and gently touched the edge of the floating image. "This battle," she said softly, "was loud, bloody, brutal, but it was just ... noise." She turned back to him. "You think destruction means power, but we learned something else. Something worse." The guards tightened their grip. One looked nervous. Vraxen growled. "Enough. Take her to the mind chamber. We will see what she hides." Evelyn didn't resist as they pulled her away. But she said one last thing before they left the chamber. "You're not ready for what you'll see." 12 floors below, deep in the core of the warship, the mind chamber HUMMED that it was built to tear secrets from any being, no matter the species, memories, fears, lies, truth. Nothing could hide from the machine. Evelyn sat in the middle of the chamber. Wires ran from the walls into her head. A circle of alien scientists watched from behind glass, ready to record. "Begin scan," one of them said. The room darkened. A beam of red light hit her forehead. Evelyn closed her eyes. At first, they saw normal things. Earth cities, oceans. The night sky, a child playing, soldiers training, buildings rising. Then something changed. The room grew colder. Images flashed faster, too fast, too sharp. Human warships different from what they knew. Sleek, silent, covered in black armor. Weapons with no heat. No energy trails. Ships that didn't fire, they just watched. Then they saw Earth's secret, Black Zone 9. A place not on any map. Hidden underground. Deep machines building something massive, something not alive, but not dead either. The machine in the chamber began to spark. One scientist screamed, "Pull out! Pull out!" But it was too late. They saw more. A war that never made it to the stars. Earth fighting something from another dimension. Human soldiers wearing armor that changed shape. Creatures that fed on gravity. A weapon that erased time. Then, silenced. The system crashed. The machine burned. Smoke filled the chamber. The doors burst open. Vraxen rushed in. Evelyn sat alone. Wires melted around her. Her eyes opened. Blood dripped from her nose, but her face still calm. "I told you," she said. "You weren't ready." Vraxen stared at her. The room smelled like fire and metal. The alien scientists were on the floor, shaking. "What was that?" he asked. Evelyn looked up at him. "That," she said, "was Earth's real history. Not the part we let others see. The part we buried." She stood slowly. No one stopped her. "You thought we were just beginning. You were wrong. The wars you fear happened after your empires rose. Ours came before." Vraxen's eyes widened. "You lie." Evelyn smiled again. "Then prove it. Look deeper." He didn't speak. "What did you think would happen when you took me?" she asked. "That Earth would beg? That I'd cry?" She stepped closer. One of the guards backed away. "No," she whispered. "You wanted to see what Earth hides. You just did." In a dark corner of the galaxy, far from the Zaltar ship, something stirred. It was silent, cold, hidden for centuries. But now, awake, a signal had been sent. And Earth was listening. Cliffhanger. Final paragraph. Vraxen stood frozen, watching Evelyn's calm face. "What are you?" he asked. She looked him in the eye. "I'm your warning." The control chamber of the Zaltar warship had never felt cold before. But now, after what Evelyn showed them, the walls seemed to breathe. The lights above flickered. The silence was deep and heavy. Warlord Vraxen stared at her. Evelyn stood straight, calm, still bleeding slightly from her temple. But she didn't look weak. She looked dangerous. "You're not a soldier," Vraxen growled. "You don't even have armor." "Why did we see those things?" Evelyn tilted her head. "Because Earth doesn't send soldiers anymore. We send reminders." The room was quiet. The warlord clenched his fists. "What were those ships we saw in your mind? What was that place?" Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Black Zone 9. A whisper passed through the chamber. One of the alien officers flinched when she said the name. Vraxen stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Black Zone 9 doesn't exist in any database. Not even in stolen files. Why?" Evelyn smiled for the first time. Not a friendly smile, cold and sharp like a knife. "Because you weren't meant to know." The aliens locked her inside a glass cell, deep in the core level. Cameras watched her from every corner, but Evelyn didn't sleep. She sat on the floor, cross-legged, eyes closed, remembering. She thought of the war no one spoke about. Not the war against aliens. The war against something else. Something worse. In the upper deck, Vraxen called a secret meeting. His top generals and war advisors joined him in the strategy room. "We need answers," he said. "Now." One of the advisors, a silver-skinned female named Tiravek, activated a data screen. It showed images from Evelyn's mind, scan distorted, but terrifying. "We've seen war," she said, "but this is something else. That woman holds knowledge from an Earth we don't understand." Another general leaned forward. "I believe we underestimated humans. Badly." Vraxen's fists slammed the table. "Impossible. Their fleets are weak. Their numbers are small. Their worlds are scattered." Tiravek looked him in the eye, then explained this. She tapped the screen. A frozen image appeared. It showed one of the human ghost ships, black, silent, smooth. It had no visible weapons. No engines, no markings, but next to it, a Zaltar dreadnought was folding in on itself, crushed into a ball the size of a coin. "This came from her memory," Tiravek whispered. "We have nothing like it." Vraxen stared in silence. Back in her cell, Evelyn heard footsteps. The door hissed open. Tiravek entered alone. "You're not what I expected," the alien woman said. Evelyn opened her eyes. "That's the point." Tiravek circled the cell. She studied Evelyn like a puzzle. "You showed us images, memories, but we need facts. What is Earth hiding? What is Black Zone 9? Evelyn stood. "You want to know the truth?" she asked. Tiravek nodded. Evelyn stepped close to the glass. Her voice was low. "We learned long ago that loud wars make noise, but quiet ones make legends. Black Zone 9 was where silence learned how to fight." Flashback from Evelyn's words. "It began 120 years ago. Earth was peaceful, or so they thought. But strange signals came from deep space. They weren't natural. They weren't alien either. They were empty, no emotion, no code. Just pure silence pulsing across space. Then people started disappearing. Scientists, engineers, strategists. They weren't kidnapped. They were called. A place was built under the Arctic ice. Black Zone 9. No country owned it. No leader controlled it. It was beyond politics, beyond war. It had only one purpose: prepare for what's coming. Inside the zone, they created machines that didn't run on energy, but on thought. Ships that didn't need fuel, but purpose. Weapons that didn't explode, but erased. Not the body, not the soul, but the idea of the enemy. The project was hidden. Even Earth didn't know what it had created. Only the Watchers knew. Evelyn was one of them. Back in the ship's cell, Tiravek's face was pale. "Why build such terrible things?" Evelyn looked at her. "Because something came through, and Earth fought it, alone." Tiravek shook her head. "No war records show this." Evelyn nodded. "Because Earth won. And when we win, we don't write books. We burn them." The warship shook slightly. Just for a second. In the command bridge, alerts flashed. "Micro disturbance in outer shields," one officer reported. Vraxen frowned. "Is it Earth ships?" "No, nothing on scanners. Nothing visible." Vraxen turned to the screen. "Check again." The officer hesitated. "Sir, the disturbance came from inside the ship." Vraxen rushed down to the prison level. The lights were dim. The guards stood frozen, unsure. Evelyn sat quietly in her cell. But now, the cameras weren't working. The glass had fine cracks running through it from the inside. "What have you done?" Vraxen barked. Evelyn looked at him calmly. "Your ship is listening. It remembers Earth's voice." He stared at her. "What voice?" Evelyn raised her hand and tapped her head. "I brought a piece of the zone with me." He stepped back. "A weapon?" She smiled. "A key." Suddenly, across the ship, screens began flickering. The ship's AI stuttered. Doors unlocked. Lights blinked. In the weapon bay, A pod that had been brought in from Evelyn's small ship began to open. It was black, spherical, silent. It pulsed once. A wave of nothing passed through metal. And everything began to change. On the bridge, officers screamed. Something's altering our core systems. Who gave access? No one answered. Vraxen turned toward the glass wall, looking at Evelyn. What did you bring onto my ship? She stood now, hands at her sides, calm as ever. A reminder. Flashback as Evelyn speaks. Black Zone 9 didn't build weapons for offense. They built warnings. They created things that only responded. Like a mirror. If you raised a gun to it, it erased your hand. If you fired a missile, it took your memories of ever building it. Earth never wanted war again, but we prepared anyway. Suddenly, the ship's gravity shifted. Lights failed. The engines hummed but wrong. Deep and slow, a strange symbol appeared. On every screen, a black circle. Inside it, a dot. The mark of protocol. Obsidian whisper. Evelyn spoke quietly to Vraxen, who watched in horror. You showed me your deadliest battle, and you laughed. Now I'm showing you Earth's silence. And you will never laugh again. A blinding light flashed in the weapon bay. The pod opened completely. Inside it was nothing. A black hole, a shadow, a wound in reality. No doubt it was a mind, artificial, aware, unchained. The ship's AI collapsed instantly. Systems shut down. Gravity reversed for 3 seconds. Half the warship's weapons turned inward. A soft voice echoed through the halls. Not human, not alien, something else. Target confirmed. Threat level irrelevant. Beginning memory overwrite. The lights went out. A minute later, power returned. Everything looked normal. Except the ship was floating in a different part of space. Far from any star. Far from any map. Evelyn's cell was now open. She stepped out. Guards didn't stop her. Some were on their knees, some weeping, some unable to speak. Vraxen stood frozen, sweating. Where are we? Evelyn looked up at the blank space beyond the view window. Welcome to the quiet zone. This is where Earth trained to end nightmares. Cliffhanger, final paragraph. Behind them, the pod's shadow rose. Its shape unclear. And from its center came a final whisper. Warm-up complete. The lights inside the warship flickered again. The great Zoltar vessel, once proud, once feared, now floated in a part of space with no stars. It was lost, disconnected from time and location. A place known only in Earth's secret files. As the quiet zone. And in the center of the ship walked a human, calm, quiet, dangerous. Evelyn Ray. Behind her, the alien soldiers stared in silence. Their minds, once sharp and confident, were now fogged. The moment the black pod opened, something inside them had broken. It wasn't pain. It was fear they didn't know existed. High Warlord Vraxen stood in the warship's command center. The room was dim. Monitors blinked without pattern. His commanders were speechless. Their voices were gone. Their systems useless. Evelyn entered through the main door. No guards stopped her. She walked across the room like she belonged there. You tried to break me, she said softly. But it wasn't me who broke. Vraxen's mouth opened, but no words came. The mind scan, Evelyn continued, was never safe. Not when the human mind carries something it wasn't built to carry. She looked around the room. You wanted to know our secrets. You reached in, and something reached back. Flashback, the mind scan session, partially hidden to audience until now. Evelyn had sat quietly in the chair. Wires connecting her to the alien memory extraction system. The machine had dug deep past thoughts, past memory, into the foundation of her being. At first, it found normal things. Childhood, school, family. Then it reached a place humans were never supposed to explore. The system passed through her conscious mind and touched the silent archive, a hidden memory locked deep inside her. In there, It found the monster. Not a creature, not a ghost, but something Earth built and stored inside a few chosen minds. A living fail-safe. It had no shape, no name, just function: protect Earth, destroy threat, erase weakness. The system inside the ship couldn't understand what it had touched. So it tried to fight it, but it failed. The moment the alien mind scanner connected to Evelyn's deepest memory, it triggered Protocol Ghostfire. The scanner melted. Scientists screamed. One collapsed. Another tore at his own skin. The rest saw flashes, brief, terrible flashes of what Earth had faced and survived. Beings made of shadow and light. Time loops, world devourers. Creatures that could rewrite gravity with a thought. But worst of all was the thing that came after. The thing Earth built to fight it. The mind shard. Back in present time, the ship began to shake. Not violently, not like an attack, but like it was breathing. The walls pulsed slightly. The air felt heavier. Screens flashed random symbols. Alien characters mixed with human code. Tyra Vec, the silver-skinned commander, whispered, "What did we release?" Evelyn turned toward her. "Something we locked away 100 years ago. Something we fed with pain, trained with silence, and taught to think like a weapon. You tried to open my mind." She stepped forward. But my mind was never just mine. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang through the ship. A red wave passed through every system. One alien technician screamed, "The eye is gone. It's been replaced." On every screen, one phrase appeared: "Mind shard active, nitrogen monoxide escape." Inside the prison deck where the mind scan was first done, doors began to open by themselves, empty hallways filled with cold wind. Then, from the darkness, something walked. It looked human. But wrong. Its skin shimmered like oil. Its eyes were pure white. Its mouth never moved. It wore a copy of the Zaltar commander's armor, but made of black crystal. And wherever it walked, machines stopped working. This was not Evelyn. This was what lived inside her, a living copy. A shadow construct. The mind shard, now awake. VR Axon watched it appear on the central screen. "Is that her?" Evelyn answered, still calm. "No, that's your mistake made real. You didn't just scan my thoughts. You opened the cage." The mind shard entered the warship's engine room. Guards fired on it. Plasma rounds passed through its body like mist. One by one, the guards collapsed. Not from wounds, but from forgotten purpose. They looked around and didn't remember where they were, who they served, why they held weapons. The shard reached the core, placed one hand on it, whispered something only. Machines understood. And the core began to change, not explode, not melt. Change. Flashback. Earth's secret weapon back in Black Zone 9. Earth had realized something terrifying. Enemies could learn how to fight ships, how to block lasers, how to adapt. So they built something enemies could not understand. Not a missile, not a gun, but a concept. A person who only existed when needed. Stored in human minds. Released by deep thought scans. Once released, it rewrote code, broke systems, ended logic, made war impossible. The mind shard was not a soldier. It was madness with a mission. On the bridge, alien officers panicked. "The ship is locking us inside. Gravity's reversing in Sector 4. Weapons are changing shape." Vraxen looked at Evelyn in rage. "Call it off. Stop it." She looked at him without emotion. "You wanted to see what Earth hides. Now you're part of the memory." The mind shard walked through walls now. Its body flickered. Every step changed the ship. Metal bent, glass boiled. Lights turned into shadows, and from its back, something grew. Wings? No. Arms, many of them. Reaching, searching. Not to grab, but to erase. Tyra Vec dropped to her knees. Her mind couldn't handle what she was seeing. Images of entire worlds screaming inside the mind shard flooded her. Thoughts. She began to forget her own name. Evelyn stood beside her and whispered, "Don't look too long, or you'll lose who you are." Suddenly, Vraxen ran toward her, roaring, lifted his plasma sword. "You brought this thing into my ship. You think you've won?" He struck at her, but the blade passed through air. She was no longer standing there. She was already across the room. "I told you," she said behind him, "we don't send soldiers anymore. We send reminders." The ship's entire map changed in one moment. Walls moved, rooms vanished. Sections twisted. A new map formed, one not drawn by alien hands. It was shaped like Earth's old logo from Black Zone 9, a ring of silence. The mind shard returned to the command center. Now it looked almost exactly like Evelyn, only the eyes were wrong. Empty, cold, hollow. It spoke its first words. "Mission complete." Evelyn stepped forward and nodded. "Sleep now." And just like that, the mind shard vanished into smoke, reabsorbed into Evelyn's body. The ship stopped shaking, systems reset, lights stabilized, but nothing was the same. Half the alien crew couldn't remember what day it was. Others had forgotten how to speak. Some had aged 10 years in 10 minutes. And in the center of the room, Evelyn Reyes stood, alone, unarmed. Cliffhanger, final paragraph. She looked at Vraxen, now broken and silent, and said, "That was Earth's second warning. You won't survive the third." The Zoltar warship was no longer the most powerful thing in the area. It was no longer even alive. Something had changed deep inside its walls. The ship's main lights flickered weakly. Screens showed nothing but static. Strange whispers echoed in the ventilation systems. Several alien soldiers had locked themselves inside their rooms. Others sat in corners, eyes blank. They had seen something their minds were never meant to see. And at the center of it all stood one quiet human, Evelyn Ray. She stood near the broken command chair. Around her, the alien officers didn't move. High Warlord Vraxen sat on the floor, breathing hard. His armor was cracked. His eyes were wide with something he had never known before. Fear. "What are you?" he whispered. Evelyn turned slowly toward him. "A message," she said, "and a trap." 5 days earlier, location, deep space near Earth, orbit inside a secret command base orbiting Pluto. An old man sat at a dark table. His name was Admiral Grant Vos. He looked at the large screen in front of him. Evelyn's face was there, frozen in a still image. Her eyes were calm, her lips tight. Her file read, "Silent Class Memory Carrier. Status, armed." Behind the Admiral, a small group of officers waited for orders. "Are you sure about this?" one asked. Voss nodded. "She knows what to do. The trap is already laid. If the Zoltar capture her, we'll get everything we need." "And if they don't?" another asked. Voss looked at the stars beyond the window. "Then she comes home, and we prepare for war." Back to present, inside the Zoltar warship, Evelyn placed her hand on a control panel. The system sparked. Her presence was not welcome, but the ship was no longer under alien control. Lines of strange human code began to appear across the screens. The alien letters were pushed away, like paint washed off a wall. "What are you doing?" Tyra Vec asked, her voice trembling. Evelyn didn't look up. "Calling the fleet." Outside the ship, space twisted. Something shimmered in the darkness. Then another dot and another dot. 10, 20, 40. They weren't normal ships. They made no sound. They reflected no light. They moved without force. The silent fleet had arrived. It had no name in Earth's public records. No history. No flags. It didn't exist. But now, it was here. And the Zoltar ship was completely surrounded. In the command center, alarms started again. Unidentified vessels detected. No engine signature. No heat. No weapons identified. They're just floating. Vraxen pulled himself to his feet. "Defensive shields up. Prepare for combat." The alien officers obeyed, but nothing happened. The command panels were dead. Weapons didn't respond. Shields didn't rise. Evelyn watched them panic. She finally spoke. "Your ship belongs to Earth now." Flashback: Earth's plan, from Evelyn's memory. Evelyn stood in a dark room with Admiral Voss. Her eyes were closed. A machine scanned her brain. "The trap must be clean," she said. "No energy trail, no trace." Voss nodded. "You'll carry the trigger. If they try to break you, the system activates. You'll have 5 hours before the fleet arrives." "And the fleet?" she asked. Voss smiled. "They're already waiting." Present time. In space, the silent fleet didn't move. It just waited. Then the lead vessel blinked literally, vanished and reappeared behind the Zoltar ship in less than a second. One of the alien officers screamed, "They're inside our perimeter." Another screen blinked. A message appeared. "Observation complete. Terminate vessel or stand down." Vraxen roared. "Fire! Fire everything we have." Nothing launched. No torpedoes. No beams. No shields. Evelyn turned toward him. "You're standing in a coffin. You just don't know it yet." Suddenly, lights across the ship turned red. A countdown began. No sound, just numbers. 59 minutes and 59 seconds. 59 minutes and 58 seconds. 59 to 57. "What is that?" Tyravek asked. Evelyn looked at the countdown calmly. "Self-judgment. You have 1 hour to make a choice. Confess your crimes against Earth, or vanish from the galaxy." Vraxen shouted, "We are Zoltar. We don't beg." He raised a plasma rifle and aimed at Evelyn. "Then burn with pride," she said. He fired. The beam hit her and passed through like smoke. Not a hologram. Not an illusion. A delay. Evelyn had shifted space around her body using a built-in failsafe from Black Zone 9. The bullet hit the wall behind her and melted into nothing. She stepped forward. "Try again." Vraxen dropped the gun. Tyravek stepped back from her console. "What happens when the countdown ends?" Evelyn turned her eyes toward her. "The ship forgets how to exist." In the silent fleet inside the lead vessel, a man watched from behind a black visor. He was tall, calm, and very quiet. His rank, Silent Commander. He spoke only once. "Ship seal confirmed. Ghost mode complete. Stand by for erasure." A whisper passed through the fleet. None of the humans on board spoke. They didn't need to. They were all part of the same mission. Show the enemy what it means to disturb Earth's silence. Back on the Zoltar ship, Vraxen grabbed a blade. "You think we fear death?" Evelyn walked past him and spoke without looking. "Then die, but no one will remember your name." Vraxen froze. The last insult. No memory. No legacy. No story. For a Zoltar, that was worse than death. Flashback: Zoltar's secret meeting. Before capturing Evelyn, a group of alien leaders gathered. "Humanity's weak," one said. "They build emotion, not war," said another. Vraxen growled. "Then we take one of them. We show them a true battle." They all agreed. They chose Evelyn Ray. They didn't know she was sent. They didn't know the trap had already begun. Countdown: 23:45, 23:44. Alien crew members tried to escape using pods. Nothing opened. Escape systems were jammed. Tyravek whispered, "You've sealed us in." Evelyn nodded. "You sealed yourselves in the moment you took me." Outside, the silent fleet finally moved. One ship folded spaced out, another disappeared and reappeared inside the Zoltar vessel for 2 seconds, just enough to scan every life form. Inside the warship, oxygen pressure changed, walls cracked, time slowed for 5 seconds. Alien memories began to blur. Some forgot who they were. One forgot he was even a soldier. It was starting. The quiet erased. Evelyn stood in the center of the ship. She closed her eyes and whispered, "One line, this is your warning. Earth doesn't fight wars anymore. We just make sure they never start again." Countdown: 0:05, 0:04, 0:03. One final message appeared on every screen. It was from Earth. It said only, "Classified species human, advises you, next time. Send a diplomat. Double quotes. colon, silence. Nothing exploded. Nothing burned. The ship simply stopped. Stopped making sound. Stopped having gravity. Stopped being. One moment. It was there. The next. It was gone. No debris. No light. No record. Just absence. The final scene. On Earth's silent fleet inside the lead ship. Evelyn opened her eyes. She was standing in a new room now. Clean, bright. The mind shard was gone. Her mind clear. Admiral Voss appeared on the screen. "Welcome back," she nodded. "The trap worked. They'll never come back," Voss smiled. "Good. Time to erase the last trace." A button was pressed. And across every known alien database, a message was sent. Zoltar Vessel 993, a not found, no record. Vessel never existed. Cliffhanger, final paragraph. In the deep galaxy, one young alien officer looked up at the sky. "We sent a warship. Why didn't it come back?" No one answered. Because no one remembered it at all. The cold silence of space was shattered. 1,000 ships suddenly appeared on the horizon. Bright lights flickered on their hulls, weapons charging, engines roaring quietly beneath the stillness. It was Earth's fleet. The ships moved in perfect formation, slow but unstoppable. They didn't shout, they didn't need to. Their presence alone was a warning. Across the galaxy, aliens watched. The Zoltar knew this moment was coming, the day humans showed their true power. Inside the flagship, High Warlord Vraxin paced. Nervously, his ship had been lost to silence once before. Now he faced the full force of Earth's wrath. "They come," he growled, "but this time we fight." But no one believed him. The crew was shaken. Their systems crippled by the mind. Shards assault. Their minds fractured from the quiet zone's effects. Outside, the Earth fleet closed in. At their center stood Admiral Grant Voss, calm and silent as always. His eyes scanned the battlefield through the command console. Beside him was Evelyn Ray. She had returned from the warship, stronger than ever. Her face was set, cold as the stars themselves. "This is our chance," she said. "The aliens will learn fear." The first shots fired, but the Earthships did not fire missiles or beams. They unleashed waves of silence energy fields that twisted space, broke enemy shields, and wiped out targeting systems. The Zoltar warships faltered, one by one. Their weapons went dark. Engines sputtered. Vraxin's flagship tried to escape, but the silence waves followed. It was trapped. The human fleet closed the gap. "Prepare boarding teams," Vraxin ordered, but the humans had no intention of boarding. They had something else. Evelyn stood on the bridge of the flagship. She raised her hand. From her palm, a dark mist spread, cold and heavy. It seeped into the walls, through the ships. Circuits, inside every alien soldier's mind. "This," Evelyn whispered, "is the nightmare they never expected." The aliens screamed as memories flooded back. Terrible memories. Memories of battles. Lost. Memories of worlds destroyed. Memories of the mind shard. Suddenly, a human ship materialized inside the Zoltar fleet. It was black and silent, moving like a ghost. It struck quickly. No alarms. No warnings. Just destruction. The Zoltar ships began to fall. The battle raged. Every alien ship was hunted. Every pilot faced the unknown. Fear was new to them. Vraxin shouted orders, but his voice was drowned by chaos. His ships fell. His soldiers surrendered. They had never seen anything like this. Evelyn moved through the ships, a ghost among shadows. She whispered warnings. She showed them the truth. Earth's silence is louder than your guns. The aliens trembled. The final blow came when the silent fleet appeared again. They surrounded the remaining Zoltar ships. No escape. No mercy. Vraxin faced Evelyn one last time. "You will pay for this," he spat. Evelyn smiled. We already did. With a wave of her hand, the mind shard reappeared. It spread across the fleet like wildfire. One by one, the Zoltar ships disappeared. Not destroyed. Erased. Forgotten. In the silence of space, only one thing remained: humanity. Cliffhanger. Final paragraph. Evelyn looked at the stars. This was only the beginning. The stars sparkled cold and distant. The battlefield was silent, too silent. The Zoltar fleet was gone. Their ships vanished without a trace. The only thing left was an empty space where they had stood. For many, the war was over. For Earth, it was just beginning. Admiral Grant Voss stood on the bridge of the flagship. Around him, his officers watched screens that showed no signs of enemy life. We won, one said softly. Voss nodded. But Evelyn's eyes were hard. We won the battle, but not the war. Far away, on a barren moon, a figure stirred. An alien commander who had survived. His armor cracked. His mind fractured. He looked at the stars with new fear. They erased us, he whispered. But they didn't destroy us. Back on Earth, preparations were underway. The silent fleet was still silent, still hidden, but something was changing. Evelyn walked through a secret chamber beneath the Earth's surface. Walls lined with strange symbols glowed faintly. Machines hummed softly. She stopped before a giant console. She placed her hands on the surface. It's time, she said. The room lit up. A deep voice echoed through the chamber. Protocol Omega, initiated. In space, sensors picked up something, a deep pulse. A wave of energy that stretched for thousands of kilometers. The aliens called it the heartbeat. It was the awakening of Earth's true power. Vraxen's survivors scattered across the galaxy. They repaired. They regrouped. They whispered of revenge. But they did not understand what was coming. In Earth's secret bases, scientists worked day and night. They built machines beyond imagination. Ships that could bend space itself. Weapons that used time as a shield. Evelyn joined the team of engineers. She watched as the machines took shape. Her mind carried the memory of the mind shard. She knew what was needed next. One evening, under the glow of artificial stars, Evelyn spoke to Admiral Voss. They think we are weak, but we have learned. We have weapons they cannot see. We have power they cannot fight. Voss smiled. Then we will show them. Far away, the galaxy waited. Waiting for the storm. Suddenly, a fleet appeared on the edge of the solar system. Not Earth's, not Zoltar, something older, something darker. The alien commander who had survived sent a message. The humans have awakened. Prepare for war. Evelyn stood on the observation deck. She looked at the approaching fleet. Her eyes narrowed. Let them come. Cliffhanger, final paragraph. Because this time, Earth was not alone, and the galaxy would never be the same. The deep black of space stretched endlessly. Stars flickered cold and distant. But in the silence, something terrible was coming. The galaxy held its breath. On Earth's flagship, the atmosphere was tense. Admiral Grant Voss stood beside Evelyn. Ray, their faces were hard, eyes sharp, ready. The final signal is ready, Voss said. Once we send it, nothing can stop the consequences. Evelyn nodded. They have forced our hand. Far away, in the dark corners of space, the old alien commander watched, his ships assembled in tight formation. This is our last chance, he said. If humans choose war, we must answer. Inside Earth's command center, the countdown began. A huge screen lit up. A message in many languages appeared. This is Earth. We send a final warning. The signal was no ordinary message. It was a wave of pure energy. It carried memories of wars, destruction, and survival. Carried the power of Earth's silent weapons. As the signal traveled, stars around it seemed to dim. Ships felt it in their systems. Engines slowed. Weapons malfunctioned. Fear spread like wildfire. In the Zoltar survivor fleet, Panic was everywhere. Raxon's voice broke over the comms. "Hold your positions. Do not give in to the fear." But many ships were already lost to confusion. Evelyn stood firm. She turned to Admiral Voss. "The final phase begins. Once the signal reaches its target, there is no turning back." The alien commander sent a desperate message. "We must destroy their signal." But it was too late. The signal was unstoppable. Across the galaxy, systems crashed. Stars flared. The galaxy was shaking. On Earth, the silent fleet prepared for battle. "The humans will decide the fate of all," Evelyn sighed, "and they will not hesitate." In space, the final battle began. Ships clashed in silence. Weapons fired but failed. Only one force remained, the force of human will. Raxon's fleet fought bravely, but the power was overwhelming. One by one, ships fell. Evelyn watched the battle. From the flagship, her face was calm. Her mind was sharp. She knew this was the moment. Suddenly, the signal reached its peak. A pulse of energy exploded in space. It tore through ships, systems, and minds. The galaxy fell into chaos. But Earth stood tall. The alien commander sent one last message. "We surrender." Evelyn smiled. "The galaxy will remember this day." Cliffhanger, final paragraph. As the stars shone bright again, Evelyn whispered, "We showed them silence can be louder than war."